And taken as a whole, the film doesn't really add up to a whole lot. But writer-director Jenkins is a new comic voice who shows promise. Her semi-autobiographical coming-of-age tale is different, to say the least, and so are her characters. Plus, many individual scenes are quite funny, and a handful are even poignant.
Okay, who's hungry?
Me.
What do you say we get some steak? Let's get some steak for breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's go to Sizzler.
Overall, it's a hip, quirky little movie that may not be for everyone, but if you happen to gel with Jenkins' offbeat style of humor, like I did, you're in for a decent time. On our New York 1 Big Apple rating scale, out of a possible 4, I'm going to give Slums of Beverly Hills 3 apples. I'm Neil Rosen, New York 1.
The Yankees and Mets could both have the playoffs in their future this year, but no matter who plays in this year's Fall Classic, baseball fans should start saving now if they plan on seeing any big games in person. Major League Baseball officials have decided to double the price of tickets for World Series games this year. You'll have to pay $150 for the best box seats at Yankee or Shea Stadium or wherever the games will be played. Most reserved seats are being upped from $50 to $100.
That's it for this half hour of New York 1 News. We'll be back with a look at all the day's top stories and our exclusive 5-borough weather reading.
And remember, you can catch the latest weather updates every 10 minutes right here on New York 1.
I'm Neil Padron, President, with aquarium power filters from Hagen.
Hagen's complete line of aquarium filtration will purify the water in your aquarium to provide a longer and healthier life for your fish. Hagen has the ultimate filter that's right for your aquarium and budget.
Come to Petland Discounts for the Hagen line of fine aquarium filtration.
Petland Discounts for the best care a pet can get.
It's a big town, but it's really a collection of neighborhoods. And the neighborhoods are really a collection of people who care a lot about their community. That's why you'll find the Bell Atlantic Community Calendar on New York 1 News. At the top of every hour on New York 1, you'll find listings for events big and small, around the town, around the corner. The Bell Atlantic Community Calendar on New York 1, because there's only one New York. New York 1 is now available on the World Wide Web. Visit our website at ny1.com. And you can email us also at ny1news@ny1.com. New York 1, because there's only one New York. You're watching New York 1, now the most watched news channel in New York City.
When we have a mess here at the White House, we call Call-A-Maid. From heavy to general cleaning, from vacuuming shredded documents to dusting. Heck, they even do windows. And Call-A-Maid is available weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and even evenings. I called Call-A-Maid and still balanced the budget. So if you want your house cleaned, just call a maid at 888-881-6243. That's 888-881-MAID. Call today for a free estimate. Thank you.
I'm Roma Torre with the New York 1 Minute. A 2-year-old Brooklyn girl is taken to the hospital with a fractured skull. Now police question her 14-year-old brother. A man accused of helping to kill Jews during the Holocaust could take the stand today in his own defense. Jack Reimer is on trial for allegedly lying about his role during World War II to get a visa to enter the U.S. A 3-year fight on a city playground as contractors try to work at PS 11 on West 21st Street in Manhattan. Completion of the playground was promised by the beginning of the school year, but no permits were ever issued. If you thought riding city buses is a pain in the posterior, you're in for some relief. The city is installing new padded seats. And there could be a grand old party in the city for Republicans before the year 2000 presidential election. New York makes the short list to host the gala.
Those stories and more in just a moment.
But first, a check of the weather where you are. You're looking at live conditions at our weather sensors in each borough. It's sunny and warm in the city today. Look for highs to reach the mid-80s. Also, the very small threat of a thunderstorm during the evening rush. Tonight, we're mostly clear and comfortable. Lows fall all the way down to about 63 degrees. And then tomorrow, we are sunny and mild with comfortably low humidity. Highs only rising into the upper 70s. Complete details, plus the 5 days ahead in 10 minutes.
Detectives reportedly questioned a 14-year-old boy in connection with the beating of his 2-year-old sister in Brooklyn. The girl was found unconscious in her Canarsie home yesterday afternoon after police say the boy called a neighbor to ask for help because he said his sister was having seizures. According to the New York Times, the boy's in police custody and is being questioned now. The toddler's in critical condition at Brookdale Hospital, where doctors say she has a fractured skull and facial injuries. Cops say the father was at work and the mother was at the hospital at the time. The Times says the mother was investigated by the Administration for Children's Services last year for inadequate guardianship of the girl, but the agency reportedly decided the child was no longer at risk last month after the family had counseling.
Detectives look for clues in the murder of a retired merchant seaman found in his home on Staten Island. Police say a neighbor checking on 81-year-old Harold Williams found his body yesterday afternoon, and police say Williams was hit with a heavy blunt object. Police say they have no suspects and no motive. Jack Reimer could get his chance today to tell jurors he is not a Nazi war criminal. New York 1's Rebecca Spitz joins us now from federal court with the latest. Rebecca.
Roma, the government has rested its case against accused Nazi Jack Reimer, and now, as you said, all eyes are on the defendant to see whether he will take the stand today in his own defense. The government wrapped up its case this morning with what is being called the most compelling testimony yet. Jack Reimer sat with his hands folded against his chest as a Holocaust survivor recounted his stay in a concentration camp and then showed the court the scars from the Nazi bullets that traveled both through his hand and through his neck. Simon Friedman spent 11 months in Treblinka concentration camp and was there the day the camp was liquidated. The 89-year-old choked back tears on the stand, remembering that morning in 1944 when SS guards met him and friends coming out of work ordered them to join hands and then make their way to a grave pit some 200 feet away. Everyone knew what was going to happen, he testified, so he told himself, quote, "Simon, don't you go to that grave. Better they should shoot you." As compelling, though, as Mr. Friedman's testimony was, the one thing it didn't do was link Jack Reimer to that spot on that day.
I think it is some man that, help shooting people. A man murdered, but he killed people. I didn't see him there. He was not there. I'm not saying that I saw him. I never saw that man before. Now, if he was here, so he took part in the killing from people. Either this is Srebrenica, either this is Lublin, either this is Warsaw Ghetto. He was everything. He was a part of them.
Reimer is accused of rounding up and executing more than 50 Polish Jews and then lying about his Nazi past to gain U.S. citizenship. If convicted, he could lose that citizenship and ultimately face deportation. Now, as I said, it does remain to be seen whether Reimer will be called to the stand today and whether we will hear in his own words his account of what is said to have happened more than 50 years ago. We will, of course, keep you updated. For now, we are in Lower Manhattan. Rebecca Spitz, New York 1. Back to you, Roma.
Rebecca, though, is Reimer likely to take the stand, though, at some point in this trial?
We've heard varying accounts. His lawyers have said in the past that they would produce him, although they did spend a long time in the judge's chambers this morning, and now it doesn't. It's really tough to call. We're just going to have to wait it out and see whether it happens. Okay, and of course we will wait it out with you. Rebecca Spitz, thank you very much. We will check back with you for more developments later on. A follow-up now on the city's efforts to close sex shops. An appellate court judge overturned a lower court's ruling to close down the Harmony Club in Chelsea. On Monday, a Manhattan State Supreme Court judge ordered the club shut down, but the appeals court ruled Harmony can remain open as long as it complies with new zoning. El Coche in the Bronx can also reopen under strict rules, including dancers must wear bikinis and tips go into a basket. Meantime, other adult businesses are continuing their fight to stay open. Les Hommes in downtown Manhattan argues 70% of its videos are not pornographic, and it has followed the rules. This is lawyers for the Queens strip club Wiggles go to court today. They say the club has complied with zoning regulations. According to the new ordinance, sex shops are in violation of the law if they're within 500 feet of schools, houses of worship, daycare centers, or each other. Shops within that limit either have to shut down or reduce their stock of adult entertainment, so it accounts for no more than 40% of their business. Parents and children at a Chelsea school wait for action on a long-delayed playground. A crew showed up to do work on PS 11 on West 21st Street this morning, but several police officers also showed up and found the crew did not have permits, so the work stopped. A buildings department spokesman tells NY1 the school construction authority never applied for a permit, and work cannot proceed until it does. Construction was supposed to begin more than 3 years ago. It finally started just about 2 weeks ago, but the buildings department stopped work and slapped the contractor with a summons that said, quote, "Stop all work, file plans, and obtain approval and secure a permit from this department."
And that's something I would expect, from like a slum landlord to do work without getting permits. It's something I would expect from like a bar owner that, was wreaking havoc on the neighborhood. I never imagined that the school construction authority, a city agency, wouldn't get permits from another city agency, the buildings department.
The kids are being ignored, is how they're being treated. They need to play. They need to get out here. They need to enjoy their physical activity. They need to be able to run around without the restrictions of a classroom, and they can't have that.
The school construction authority has until September 1st to correct the permit problem. That's just 8 days before school begins. More leaders speak out on the Million Youth March. State Controller Carl McCall argues the rally is not a good idea because he says Khalid Abdul Muhammad is leading it. Muhammad was dismissed as a Nation of Islam spokesman 4 years ago because of controversial remarks about Jews, Catholics, and gays. But McCall adds the march could inspire young people with a message of tolerance and unity. Meantime, State Senator David Patterson is calling on community leaders to help reach some sort of middle ground. Mayor Giuliani says the Corporation Council and the NYPD are now handling the rally issue. The city has not issued a permit for the rally, which is scheduled for September 5th in Harlem. March organizers say they'll go ahead with it anyway.
There's concern that an expected growth in the number of commuters from the suburbs could overwhelm Penn Station. According to the New York Post, a study sponsored by the MTA, New Jersey Transit, and the Port Authority warns that commuter railroad expansion could lead to more congestion at Penn Station. The LIRR reportedly plans to add more direct rides from outlying areas of Long Island. New Jersey Transit is going to offer service direct from Secaucus and Montclair, and Amtrak is adding Metroliner service between New York and Boston. Penn Station already handles more than 300,000 commuters every day. The report recommends moving some Long Island Railroad services to Grand Central Terminal. That would reduce the burden on Penn Station and provide commuters with better access to the east side. More of the day's top stories are just ahead.
Plus, we'll tell you about the weather we're getting this week as we check our extended forecast. Stay tuned.
I love my grandkids. I'd do anything for them. But a while back, my foot got this sore that just wouldn't heal. It happens with conditions like diabetes, poor circulation. I tried some quick fix medication, but it didn't help. Then my doctor referred me to these specialists, the Wound Care Center. Their team put me on a whole treatment plan. Now I'm back to being grandpa again. Hey, good. Good.
Call 212-375-4400.
Legend tells us each Hawaiian island was a child of the gods. First, Kauai. Then came Oahu. Maui magically appeared. Then Molokai. Quietly came Lanai. And finally the Big Island, still growing.
We are Hawaii.
The islands of Aloha. Fly Continental, the only airline with non-stops from the New York area to Honolulu. For the fastest way to get to Hawaii, the islands of Aloha, call your travel agent or Continental Airlines at 1-800-523-FAIR.
Weather on the Ones is sponsored by Hawaii, the islands of Aloha.
Time now for an extended look at weather on the Ones. We've got a nice day with lots of sunshine, low humidity, and warm temperatures, highs in the mid-80s. But there is the very small chance we could get a thunderstorm during the evening rush. Tonight, mostly clear and comfortable, lows dropping way down to about 63 degrees. That's cool for summer. Winds will be breezy from the north. And then tomorrow, a taste of September is in the air. Look for sunny skies and highs in the 70s and humidity very low at 30%. Checking the 5 days ahead, another fabulous day awaits for Friday. The high 79 degrees. And then the weekend, mostly sunny and a bit warmer. Look for highs to return into the 80s. If you're taking a trip out of town, here's our traveler's map with temperatures and conditions in major cities all across the country. And remember, here on New York 1, you get weather updates every 10 minutes. Some Bronx parents wanted to send their children to summer school, but as New York 1's Bronx reporter Dean Meminger tells us, now they're learning a lesson themselves about ripoffs.
This is a typical case of taking advantage of people who need childcare.
Patricia Jackson McCullough charges the Field Day School in Riverdale stole her money, $710 for summer school fees. She says she sent several checks in June so her daughter could come here, but she later received a letter stating the school would not open for the first summer session due to renovations. She says that's when she asked for a refund, but she says she hasn't gotten anything and has not been able to speak to the director, John Field.
I tried very hard, and every day there was no answer. And like I said, up until this point now, the phone service is temporarily disconnected. So in the letter, there's another lie, that you can conveniently contact the school. How could you conveniently contact the school when there's no... Yeah, you can contact it, but you're not going to get an answer.
Field Day looks as if it has not been open for some time. As you peer through the window, the sleeping carts are stacked up, the plants are dry and withered. New York 1 obtained a copy of the letter McCullough received, and it does state, quote, if you would prefer to receive a refund, please contact the school, and your summer session tuition, including all registration fees, will be refunded to you by mail no later than July 15th. Cheryl Scott Muzan is another parent who says Field Day hasn't refunded her money. She's out close to $1,000.
I thought I did my homework. We just recently moved to the area because I just got a new position. And after looking around at several schools, I finally thought I chose the best one with Field Day. And I was so woefully wrong. It makes me angry to think that I was taken, but I guess so were so many other people.
Assemblyman Jeff Dinowitz, who represents this area, says he knows about the problem and that he has personally tried to reach out to the owner of the school in an effort to get the money back for the parents.
I've tracked down the home phone number of the owner of this place, and we are exerting whatever pressure we can to make sure that people get their money back. Not all of these people are in a position where they can afford to lose $700 or $800.
Dinowitz says the Bronx District Attorney's Office has gotten involved to see if any criminal activity has taken place.
The reason why I think this may very well be out-and-out fraud is because on the very day that they sent out the letter saying that the school session is being postponed because of building renovations, which never took place, they also cashed the check of one of the parents. So why would they be cashing checks even after they knew that the building was being renovated, unless this was just a story that was made up?
Meanwhile, parents are hoping authorities will teach the school's director a lesson or two and waiting to see if they will get their money back. In the Bronx, Dean Meminger, New York 1.
State investigators have some questions about how the person in charge of Battery Park City is handling its money. The New York Times reports State Inspector General's office is examining charges Battery executive John Lemura used his expense account to pay for hotel stays in the city and a trip to California. Investigators are also reportedly looking into why Lemura gave an $18,000 raise to his chief administrative aide without the prior approval of the Battery Park City Authority. According to the Times, Lemura denies the charges, and his lawyer says granting raises and the other spending were both within Lemura's legal limits.
This edition of Today in New York City History is sponsored by the History Channel. On August 12th, in 1790, New York's year-long reign as the nation's capital ends when the seat of the federal government is moved to Philadelphia. And in 1977, Governor Hugh Carey signs the Son of Sam Law. It prevents criminals from profiting from their stories before first compensating their victims. That's Today in New York City History. I'm Philip O'Brien.
Got a dirty, filmy shower door? You've got a choice. You can try to scrub it, or you can CLR it. And that rust-stained bathtub? You can try steel wool, or you can CLR it. If you want fast and easy cleaning, try CLR. It's guaranteed to instantly remove the toughest stains caused by calcium, lime, and rust. CLR glass decanters, quick and clean. CLR your pots and pans. CLR those water spot stains, and your toilet too. CLR the stucco wall. Run a little through an empty washer cycle and get rid of rust stains in your machine. CLR works all over the house. It's guaranteed or your money back. So for tough stains in kitchens, bathrooms, basements, and more, the choice is CLR.
A car accident claims the life of a powerful Democratic state assemblyman. Brooklyn reporter Janine Aguirre has reaction to the death of Anthony Genovesi.
He wasn't a household name for most New Yorkers, but in the political world, Anthony Genovesi was known as a force to be reckoned with.
He was